You are thinking all wrong about Bitcoin. I often say that price is the least interesting aspect of Bitcoin. Why is that? Because fiat currencies value nothing. As Mike Maloney often says, one of my biggest mentors in the sound money space for the last 12 years, Americans, and you could probably say Westerners, and really most people in the world know the price of everything and the value of nothing. So the way we are thinking about Bitcoin is all wrong because so many people look at it and say, "Oh my gosh, Brandon, I had so many people last week at the conference, Pacific Bitcoin conference, 2 weeks ago. Uber drivers, I'm talking to everyone. They got it like, well, it's down right now. Well, it's down in fiat currency, like worthless pieces of paper. Like, what does that matter? We're missing the boat. We're missing freedom. Freedom is there for the taking. It's either CBDCs or Bitcoin, slavery or freedom. Videos all the last week or two of what is money, CBDCs versus Bitcoin, freedom versus slavery, all these topics we've been covering. Please go check those out. These are incredibly important times because New York Fed is rolling out CBDC. China already has a social credit score in CBDCs and are rolling all around the world. The UK, now the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, is now an advocate for this and a cog in the system and has his relatives run Infosys and all these different things going on. This is insanity and it must be stopped. And it's going to be stopped from the bottom up, from the people, from you and I and the people like us. That's how this changes. That's how this becomes different and becomes a world of freedom and liberty, separation of money and state. So the reason people are being shaken out of the positions or not wanting to get into Bitcoin is they're thinking in fiat terms. That's a legacy crumbling system. That's the fiat sinking Titanic we've been talking about. And we're trying to get as many people off the life raft and into freedom as possible. That vehicle just happens to be Bitcoin, but it could be called anything you want. It could be called the couch. Like we're just don't think about the term Bitcoin and all the negative connotations because that's what the media does. That's what the unproductive class, the ruling class, tries to do, is try to scare you out of something that they know is going to take power from them. That's why you are thinking of it in fiat terms and scared out of that trade. The bear markets are the best time to buy as an investment, but they're the best times to build as well. They're the times when everyone's scared, everyone's gone, and it's quiet, and you can think and you can build. One of the biggest questions, again, is where can I buy Bitcoin? Or where can I use it? How can I use it? Why would I use it? I get this from very smart people. Well, what can I do with Bitcoin? What's the point of it? And obviously people come in for number go up technology, the NGU, right? But again, when the price is going down, you can't make that debate in that moment, right? You can show people the logarithmic chart, which is incredible, which it just goes up and to the right over time. So you can make these logical arguments. However, the story is what's going to compel people the most. And the story is, do you want to be censored or not? As I've seen in the last 12 years, going from Michigan State and graduating as a college senior to having businesses and being an investor and having a family that I need to protect and make sure our assets are safe, that's why I Bitcoin. Because I don't want to be told what to do or what I cannot do with my wealth, my time and energy, because that's all wealth is, and my property, because that's what money is. It's your property. It's your wealth, your time and energy. So when people are stealing through inflation or direct taxation, they are stealing your time and energy. So it's theft. It's literal theft. Taking your time and energy. It's not just pieces of paper or digits in a computer. They make it very easy to just be like, it's gone, whatever. It's another fee, it's another tax, it's another whatever. They are literally taking, as Jeff Booth says, who's they? They are the government or the ruling class. They work for us. Well, they do. However, we keep seemingly voting in. Again, we can debate on how the voting system is working right here, but we apparently, as a country and as Western society, keep voting in people who don't really have our best interest at heart. They are saying, you know what, you don't need those freedoms. You don't need the First Amendment. You don't need the Second Amendment. You don't need the Third or the Fourth. Why not the Fifth? No, you don't need that. They don't want you to have those things. The Bill of Rights, as Barack Obama said, and he speaks for majority of people that think along these lines, the modern progressive, but really they're Fabian socialists or socialist communists. They've stolen the word liberal and they've stolen the word progressive. They're not progressive, they're regressive. He said the Bill of Rights, the Constitution is a charter of negative liberties. No, that's positive liberties for people, for the individual. And that these people think completely backwards. Charter of negative liberties is what the government can't do to you. Yeah, that's because the government's there, literally there to the consent of the government. Hello, go read the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. It's a charter it's a It's a document that is there to say, hey, government, this is what you're here to protect. You're here to protect these rights of ours, and we are giving you that responsibility to do that. We are letting you do that. And if you got out of control, we're going to change that, and we're gonna fix this back up. That's it. So government has completely overstepped its bounds. However, we are the ones that let them do that, right? We've let them do that for decades, and that's what Jeff Booth refers to. He says, we are the government. We vote. We're the ones voting for these things. Whether we vote with at the ballot box or the ammo box, as they say, but with our money. And that's what we're going to get into as well. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but voting with your money. You can vote with your feet and say, I'm out of here. That's very hard for the average person now. So we can vote with our money, though, which is what everyone in the world can do. Even like I said yesterday, going from working at McDonald's all the way to the Lehman Brothers, what Bear Stearns, right, back in the day, the CEO, they'll keep carrying their boxes out and getting, these companies going bankrupt, these massive companies that control the world, JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, doesn't matter who you are in the spectrum. We all are using money. Money, as Justin Rizvani says, is the most important data point we have, which it is. It's when you're saying, hey, I'm buying something or I'm selling something, that means this trade, I'm alerting the market saying, I agree that this trade is worth this transfer of my time and value, because remember, that's what money is. It's worth my transfer of time and value to receive this product or service or vice versa. Right? So that's what buying and selling is. That's what money is. It's a data point. It's the most important data point we have. So money itself is not evil. And again, we're going to talk about this every single time we go over this, because truly, I think my mission really has become to help educate and be among the throngs of people, educating people about what is money. Money is just a container. That's all it is for your time and energy. And when you have inflation, you have fiat currencies that are backed by nothing. It's a container, the box, with a hole in the side. Inflation. Just when you're working, when you're sleeping, just leaking out the bottom. That's why it constantly is just going down, down, down. And you can't figure out why you can't get ahead, because it's just constantly leaking out the side. And you have governments, you have grifters, you have rent seekers, you have globalists, whatever it is. They're constantly just debasing your currency, printing more of it. You're losing value. But when you have Bitcoin, a finite asset, you now have no holes in your container. So when you put more of your time and energy, your wealth, into your container, your money, you're putting Bitcoin in there, a finite asset, you now have no hole. And the more you are putting into that, the higher it grows, the larger it grows. And the network, as more people come on a network, build businesses, build utility into the network, build functionality, sell their real estate, buy Bitcoin, sell their stocks, buy Bitcoin, sell their bonds, buy Bitcoin, sell their art, buy Bitcoin. That network just continues to gain value because there's only 21 million. It's a finite system. So you're now fighting, people are fighting and fighting. It's game theory for less and less Bitcoin. Hence, the value goes up, and that's why it's up and to the right. If you look at a logarithmic scale, if you look at a linear scale, it looks like it just goes up and down and just kind of shakes people out. People get scared and they worry about fiat price. Again, wait until the end. We're going to talk about why thinking about the fiat price is not smart. But again, I appreciate you letting me digress into this because it's super important context, the stories of what's happening. But here's some actual tactics. That's the strategy. These are the tactics of where can I spend Bitcoin? Why would I use it? Because it's a question we get a lot. It's a normal response, and that is natural and truly a good question. This is a very good question, and it makes perfect sense. Why would I acquire a new money or an asset that I cannot use anywhere? I mean, it doesn't really make sense at the end of the day. First off, again, really quick, the network is growing and is being built on all the time. However, if you're not studying it all the time, then you're not going to know that, which is fine. But again, just to keep things straight though as well, new monetary assets become stores of value first, this first S curve we see here, and then once they have that flywheel effect and they kind of have that escape velocity, then they become a medium of exchange once it is reaching critical mass. However, because Bitcoin is digital and it's so easy to use and it's so easy to transact across time and space, it's already being used all over the world. So it's kind of confusing in a way because it's being used and people say, well, it's not being used that much. It is, and it's just it's going a little faster. So those curves are a little bit closer together maybe, and it's not as big of a discrepancy where it's like, okay, it's gonna become a store of value. Then it gets transacted because it's so easy to use and it's so simple. And again, this will increase over time. This adoption will increase as the game theory plays itself out. People leave the fiat old legacy crumbling, Titanic going down, and they realize, oh my gosh, this life raft over here is my only chance of survival to actually have an existence and maintain my wealth and not go down with the entire system. This parallel system is being built. There's so many companies. We're going to talk about another company in the health space in a little bit as we go down here that I'm super excited about, incredibly excited about, and I think you might be as well. Or another question I get is people, why would I spend something? This is a really big question. Why would I spend something if it keeps going up in value? This is such an incredibly important point here. So if you're hungry or thirsty, or you need something in your life of importance, then you surely would spend your Bitcoin. No? Someone who's very wealthy, on the other hand, and continually making more money, providing goods and services that kept going up in value, would still want that yacht or supercar. No? See, we as humans love to buy things. It triggers certain, drugs inside of us, right? So we want to do these things. And this argument doesn't hold up because people aren't incentivized at this moment. This is really the crux of everything. So people make this argument, but it doesn't even hold up now because people aren't incentivized at this moment to spend their money because the inflation rate, it's lower. They've had it at 2%-ish for a long time. Right now it's really probably about 15 to 20% if you calculate it how they used to 40 years ago. They've screwed with it. But still, even at 8-10%, it's not getting everyone to go out and just spend money just because. It's not enough yet. It's not 100% a month like it is in some countries. Those countries, maybe you can make a case. But most people think that they can still save fiat dollars and get ahead in life. And that's why there's so many problems. That's why you have so many people that still have a saving mentality, and they have this huge problem because they're like, oh, I have too much month at the end of my money, or I can't retire, because they're saving in a depreciating asset. So we have an inflationary asset that, in theory, people, Keynesians or people that aren't studying it, just think like, well, we need this because it helps people to spend and gets velocity of money going. Well, no, it doesn't, because the average person just wants to save their money. They just want to be able to save and then have a retirement someday. That's all they want. That's what the average person wants and needs. They don't need to become investors. Like right now in this economy where everyone's forced to be an investor. Everyone's on Robinhood, they're on this and that, trying to be an investor. Well, that's only a couple % of people are going to do that. Just like any part of society, like only a couple % of people are going to play, less than 1% are going to play in the NHL or the NBA or the NFL. Everyone else just wants to watch. They're like, hey, don't screw with my stuff, man. I don't need to be put on the field here. I don't need to be an actual investor. Can I just have my money and just goes up in value over time? Why is it just constantly being debased and inflated away, and I have no well-being now at the end of my life, at the end of the month? So again, that argument falls completely flat because of what's going on right now. Inflationary money doesn't get people to spend. This is not getting anyone to spend right now. Most people, again, are still thinking that they have to save to get ahead, which you can't in a depreciating asset. That's literally impossible. Unless you're making, 10, 20, $100 million a year. Then maybe you can make an argument, right? So again, this is why we needed deflationary money. We needed deflationary money because you're never going to get, this is where my mind switched over the last 10 years, or really over the last few years. But I thought, hey, if I teach people about money and how to use assets, because the way to hedge, like I said yesterday, the way to hedge or grow your wealth in this system, everyone can do it. Just only the couple percent, the top % of people, the 1% know how to play the game. The game's available to all. But most people don't want to play the game or don't know the game, and because it takes time, it takes effort, it takes energy. You're buying real estate, you're building up a network, you're getting vendors and contractors, and you're rehabbing properties and your apartment complexes or self storage or whatever it is, or businesses. You're turning them around and then you're refinancing them, and it's a lot of hoops you're jumping through. So the average person can't do that, right? That might be great for me, or it might be great for 1% of people I know or 5% of people we know, but not everyone benefits from that. So it's a zero-sum game in a way. But as Bucky Fuller said, how can we benefit the most amount of people? Well, the wealth gap, shrinking that to me is the most important thing. That is the most important thing. So how do we do that? Well, it's money, fixing the money, fix the money, fix the world. The average person, again, working at Goldman Sachs or working at McDonald's, if they live on less than they make, they can all save in Bitcoin, the hardest asset on earth, and their purchasing power will go up over time, over 5 years, 15 years, 30, 50 years. That is the game changer. That's how the wealth gap becomes closer instead of running away. Again, so a currency constantly losing its value each minute of each day at a lower inflation rate, which is crazy, it's not even that high of an inflation rate, isn't moving the needle to getting people to rush out and spend their cash. So again, that argument falls on its face. So why would a currency or money going up in value be bad? People generally want to save capital, and this aligns incentives, like we just spoke about a minute ago. Humans want to spend. They want to do these things. They want to save, but eventually when they have enough money, they'll be like, okay, I want to spend. I want to spend on some nice things. I want to treat myself. I want to live life. So we're going to do that regardless. Humans already have a penchant for saving capital, though. So again, now they are rewarded for that act instead of being punished. Then once they feel like I have enough saved, again, and they realize the rest of their capital saved up is still increasing in purchasing power, they will obviously spend it. Clearly. Because it's like, oh, if I provide more value or better products and services, I'll make even more money, true money. And the stuff I still do have, that's going to keep going up in value. So now I feel very empowered. Like, well, I definitely can spend some of this money now because this is going up here, my savings, and I can provide some more value and make even more money. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful positive spiral up instead of a negative debt spiral down. Again, this is incredibly important. And again, here's again another chart showing the market cap of Bitcoin, kind of like the S curve of adoption in a way, and the Lindy effect. So, and we're down here. We're in this area somewhere. So this is where we still have a ways to go for global money, widespread medium of exchange, stuff like that. So more countries will come on. I mean, just imagine when 5 countries have it instead of 2, 10 countries, 20 countries, and just keeps going in the next few years. And people everywhere, and it's just from the bottom up is coming. People are going to be looking around like, oh my goodness, it's going to be inevitable, right? We're going to look back just like the internet. It's the same exact thing. And you're going to look back in 20 years and say, how do we ever doubt something like that? Spend and replenish. So this is a really important thing. Disenfranchised with politics, you just had it. Again, we've been saying this for a while. I think Nico from Simply Bitcoin coined this, I believe, but it's not red versus blue. It's a state versus you. This is truly the game. This is what's going on. We've talked about this many, many times. Vote with your money. Voting with your money is something everyone can do. If you're out of the legacy monetary network, then it loses its value over the time. And the more people do it, the faster it dies. And we talked about this segment. I took this from yesterday's as well. This is such an incredibly important thing. The faster it dies, the quicker the adoption of the best technology will win. Again, kind of like MySpace, they came around, they're a big internet sensation, then Facebook took them over, had better network effects, and everyone migrated to that system. That crushed the initial behemoth, I guess we could say, right? So just like the legacy monetary systems will get crushed. They're already being crushed, and the new systems will take a hold. Gresham's law, good. I believe it's good money drives out bad, or is it bad money drives out good? No, good money, bad money drives out good money, right? So you're going to spend that bad money in the system, and you're going to hold the good money until that system crumbles. That fiat sinking Titanic crumbles eventually. This, again, I shared this yesterday. btcmap.org by Nathan Day is incredible. It shows you all over the world and you can even add to it where people can go check this out and see where Bitcoin is being accepted all over the world. So it's untrue, again, that people can't spend their Bitcoin everywhere. And I'm going to show you another area. So this is where people directly can see where you can spend Bitcoin straight up. So this is awesome, and it's such a beautiful thing to see. And again, if you go here, this is a website, so you can go check it out here, and we'll get this. All right. Okay, well, we're not going to get that right here, but I'll show you some of these other sites too. So, or you can use a Bitcoin to buy fiat gift cards or debit cards using a fiat system all over the world at pretty much any place you could think of spending money or pay bills. So you have Bull Bitcoin, which we will show you here. So this is Bull Bitcoin. That's where you can use and get credit cards and debit cards. We have coin cards where you can pay bills with Moon. So these are incredible sites and places where you can go and refill your cards. You can pay with, and again, even if you're not using Bitcoin, there's other crypto too. So use your crypto first. Bad money drives out the good. Get that, spend those altcoins, those ship coins, and get them out of the system and save that Bitcoin for now. But again, Bitcoin is the big thing here, obviously, where you can use that. You can check these links here as well. And this is a big thing. Again, when bad things happen, chaos happens, good things come out of it. More chaos drives actually more order and opportunity going forward, as Bob Proctor says. So this is so your bank account is frozen starter pack that came about in the Canadian trucker protests, right? So people are getting their legacy fiat accounts frozen, but Bitcoin never did. That's the thing. They claim that it did. They tried to make it sound like they did, or it got hacked, or they froze or whatever. They can't. That's not possible. It's just code on the computer, peer-to-peer. So they didn't do anything. And very simply, you can go do these things like setting up Moon, which we have tutorials in here as well of how to set up Moon within 3 minutes. Go do that. Check that out. And you can be sending Bitcoin on-chain or on the Lightning Network immediately, back and forth, zipping it to each other all across the world for fractions on a penny through Lightning. And then here again, some of the QR codes, again, just some of the sites where I got some of these, again, to go, you get gift cards, get debit, credit cards, one-time use cards, and pay merchants online, etc. So whatever you want to spend money on, buy Bitcoin first and then spend it. This is one of the key things. So if you want to go use this and be, somewhat anonymous, and have a little bit of anonymity, you can go use this, and this is where Lightning is going to really take things to the next level, and we're not going to get into that now, but if you want to go use Bitcoin, you can, like I said, go to btcmap.org or go here at one of these sites, and you can go buy Bitcoin first and then use to get gift cards and then replace it. So this is really quick. Or you can buy with Bitcoin and then replace with quickly and buy more Bitcoin, right? So you can go spend your Bitcoin you do have and then buy some more really quick. So spend and replenish. Or you can go buy whatever you're looking to buy in Bitcoin first. So if you want to go buy something that costs $500, go buy $500 of Bitcoin right now, and then go spend it and send it here to one of these sites to get what you're trying to purchase. And again, the cool part is usually you can do this anonymously, like I said, because of Lightning's second layer on top of Bitcoin's first layer protocol. And the super cool part is paying in Bitcoin many times will give you a discount on your items you purchase, like you would see if someone is paying in cash. So you go to a gas station and it's like, hey, we're going to give you a cheaper price because it's, you're paying in cash. So again, more companies, like I said in the beginning, this is one of the companies are springing up like CrowdHealth. These companies are just starting to come up everywhere where you can crowdfund healthcare services and get out of the legacy healthcare system that's crumbling as well. You just pay in $200, $500, $1,000, $2,000 a month in premiums, and you don't see any of that. There's nothing you get. Most times you're not using healthcare, so what are you getting? Then you have to pay a deductible, co-pays. So here you can crowdfund health services. It's very cheap, and while not throwing away your premiums every month. This is unbelievable. So if you are already dollar cost averaging Bitcoin and stuff like that, now you can save half your premiums you're paying each month, which again, you can go check it out. I'll try to link it in here as well. You can save half your premiums each month in Bitcoin, in the accounts that you control. And even if you leave, you get to take that with you. And they partner with Swan Bitcoin. It's incredible. And again, I don't have affiliations with any of this, but this is such a game changer for humans everywhere that this has to be talked about. And this is the parallel economy being built. This is the life raft off the Titanic, the legacy system. So, and it just takes a few minutes. That's all it does. And again, you control these. Unlike the traditional system where the care gets worse and your premiums are gone to your insurance provider. You don't get anything for those premiums you spent and you gave to them. They just get to do whatever they want, just like Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett takes your premiums, his float every month. He gets to go invest it and make money for himself and his investors. That's it, right? So now you're taking control and you're saying, yes, I'm going to fund these things, help my community. It's a great community of people who think alike and take care of themselves. So that's why it's cheaper. And then you get to take a lot of that and purchase Bitcoin with it. So, half your premium each month might be buying Bitcoin, just going into your account. And as that goes up in value over time, you might never have to pay for insurance again, right? And again, this isn't legal advice, financial advice, whatever. It's just, these are the opportunities and the things that are coming about and hopefully expanding people's context to what is actually happening, what's being built around us. And we're just all trapped. We've all been trapped in brainwashed in this fiat system of the people at the top making the rules, and we just have to play by those rules, and that's it. No more, no longer. Again, people get so focused on the price of Bitcoin and fiat dollar terms that it scares them out of the new monetary system being built in parallel to the legacy crumbling fiat system. That's the game changer. Shift what you're looking at instead of fiat price and understand that we need to think in terms of freedom and value being created on this new open network monetary standard. That's the game changer right there. Because this is the thing, even if you don't own Bitcoin, the very last thing I'll say is that your life, as the deflationary money takes hold, your life standards will go up and then costs will come down. Even if you're the last person on the boat, it's going to start healing the rest of the world. The sooner you're on, the better. But this is why the adoption is so important, and understanding that fiat dollars mean nothing. It might go to $1 trillion per Bitcoin, because the fiat currencies aren't going to mean anything. Just like Zimbabwe, the $100 trillion bills. If fiat currencies were worth something, or money itself was worth something, then the Venezuelan bolivar would be the most important asset in the world. But it's not. It's $1 trillion or whatever the heck it is for $1 US, but it's trash, and they're all trash. It's just somewhere slowly hitting the ground. Some are slower than others to hit the ground, right? Everyone's parachuting out of the plane, and the dollar is just falling slower than all the other currencies falling faster. So don't be fooled. Do not be fooled. Shift our thinking. We need to shift our thinking not in fiat price, because again, fiat prices don't mean anything. If you want a true measurement, this is the other game changer as well. Measure everything in Bitcoin. This is what gives you a finite control, a controlled experiment to actually value everything. Like I said in the beginning, we all know the price of everything and the value of nothing. But if you want to know the true value now, we have a standard, 21 million, everything divided by 21 million, an unbelievable book by Knut Svanholm. check that book out, because again, he goes into depth of, and it's only 150 pages, but it goes into depth how now we have a controlled experiment where we can value anything in the world by 21 million, everything divided by 21 million, instead of this moving goalpost, this target where the dollars are just going all over the place, the peso, the yen, the fiat currency is moving all over. So how do you value anything? You can't. So stay strong. Appreciate you in this battle. We're in one. We're in one. But we're going to win. We know truth and reality are on our side, and that's why we win at the end of the day. So stay strong. Please check out some of these videos, like I said, about pulling your stuff off exchanges. The New York Fed announces their CBDC coming. A lot of CBDCs and slavery versus Bitcoin and freedom. That's what we have coming. And a video I did a couple weeks ago about what is money, I think is one of the most important things in my mission going forward, about educating people and the others out there, like the Robert Breedloves, other people that are educating people on what is money. Truly, because if we understand that, if we can shift our thinking just a little bit, like down here, instead of fiat price, but in terms, instead of freedom and value being created on this open monetary network, everything changes for everyone in the world, and that wealth gap starts to shrink. So appreciate you guys. Your time and energy is the most important asset we have, the only finite asset besides Bitcoin. Remember, Bitcoin is time and time is Bitcoin, the only two finite assets we have. So I appreciate you. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. Appreciate your time and energy. Again, thank you.